Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch think their relationship can survive WWE's systematic destruction of wrestling couples, but the company's track record proves that no romance can withstand the corporate machine that has obliterated every other wrestling power couple who dared to put love before business. What I'm about to expose will show you exactly how WWE manipulates, exploits, and ultimately destroys the personal relationships of their performers for profit. The wrestling industry has a 90% failure rate for couples who try to maintain relationships while working for major promotions. That's not coincidence, that's the inevitable result of a corporate system designed to extract maximum value from performer emotions while providing zero protection for their personal lives. Edge and Lita's relationship wasn't destroyed by the Matt Hardy love triangle, it was systematically dismantled by WWE's creative team who saw more money in exploiting their real-life drama than in protecting the mental health of three human beings whose personal crisis became public entertainment. But what WWE did to Edge and Lita was child's play compared to their current manipulation tactics. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are walking into a corporate trap that has been refined and perfected through decades of relationship destruction, and they have no idea what's coming. The travel schedule alone destroys 80% of wrestling relationships before couples even reach the point where WWE's creative manipulation becomes a factor. 300 days per year on the road, different cities every night, and performance pressure that leaves no emotional energy for maintaining personal connections. Here's what makes your blood boil: WWE knows their schedule destroys relationships, and they use that knowledge as leverage in contract negotiations. Wrestlers who demand time off for family commitments get labeled as difficult and face reduced push opportunities that can end their careers. John Cena and Nikki Bella's relationship became a corporate marketing campaign that generated millions in merchandise sales and social media engagement while slowly poisoning the authentic connection that had brought them together in the first place. Their WrestleMania proposal wasn't a romantic gesture, it was a business transaction that WWE monetized until the relationship collapsed under the weight of public scrutiny. The most shocking revelation about wrestling couples is how WWE's creative team actively looks for ways to exploit relationship problems for storyline content. Backstage arguments become on-screen feuds, real jealousy becomes scripted drama, and genuine emotional pain becomes entertainment for audiences who don't realize they're watching actual human suffering. WWE's couples therapy isn't about helping relationships survive, it's about extracting storyline material from private counseling sessions that should be protected by confidentiality agreements. The company's wellness program includes relationship counselors who report directly to creative writers looking for authentic emotional content. The pregnancy storylines that WWE creates around female wrestlers aren't celebrations of new life, they're calculated business decisions designed to maximize the commercial value of motherhood before writing pregnant performers off television. Becky Lynch's pregnancy announcement generated more merchandise sales than her championship reigns combined. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's decision to have a child together wasn't just a personal choice, it was handing WWE the ultimate leverage to control both their careers simultaneously. The company now has the power to manipulate their booking, their schedules, and their creative directions by using their daughter's well-being as implicit pressure. The childcare arrangements that WWE provides for wrestling families aren't generous employee benefits, they're control mechanisms that keep performers dependent on corporate support while gathering intelligence about their personal lives that can be used for creative manipulation. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's relationship isn't the corporate success story that WWE promotes in documentaries, it's the template for how wrestling companies use romantic relationships to consolidate power and eliminate potential rivals. Their marriage wasn't about love, it was about business succession planning. The domestic violence incidents that have plagued wrestling relationships aren't just personal tragedies, they're the inevitable result of an industry culture that treats aggression as entertainment and provides no meaningful support for performers dealing with the psychological trauma of their profession. WWE's wellness policy includes domestic violence protocols, but those procedures are designed to protect the company's public image rather than the safety of abuse victims. Performers who report relationship violence face career consequences that often exceed the legal penalties faced by their abusers. The financial pressure that WWE places on wrestling couples creates artificial stress that destroys relationships that might otherwise survive. Performers are forced to compete against their partners for limited opportunities while pretending to support each other's careers publicly. Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella's relationship survived WWE's manipulation attempts because they maintained strict boundaries between their personal lives and corporate obligations. But their success required sacrifices that most wrestling couples aren't willing or able to make. The social media requirements that WWE imposes on their performers extend to their families, forcing wrestling couples to share intimate moments with millions of strangers who feel entitled to judge and criticize their personal choices. Privacy becomes impossible when corporate contracts require public disclosure of private lives. Wrestling couples who attempt to keep their relationships separate from their professional obligations face creative punishment that can destroy their careers. WWE rewards performers who provide storyline material from their personal lives and punishes those who maintain professional boundaries. The most devastating aspect of WWE's relationship manipulation is how they use children as leverage against wrestling parents. Performers with families face unique pressure because threatening to leave the company means potentially destroying their children's financial security and healthcare coverage. Seth Rollins' previous engagement to Lila Schultz ended partly because of the pressure and scrutiny that comes with dating a WWE performer. The constant travel, public attention, and relationship speculation create stress that normal relationships can't withstand. WWE's creative team studies wrestling couples' social media activity, public appearances, and personal interactions, looking for content that can be incorporated into storylines without explicit permission. Private moments become corporate property through carefully worded contract clauses. The ring gear, entrance music, and character presentation choices that wrestling couples make are subject to corporate approval that extends to their personal expression. WWE controls how couples present themselves individually and together, limiting their ability to maintain separate identities. Backstage politics affect wrestling relationships differently than other partnerships because corporate favoritism and creative decisions can create artificial competition between people who should be supporting each other. Success becomes a zero-sum game where one partner's advancement requires the other's sacrifice. The injury risks that define professional wrestling create unique stress for wrestling couples because both partners understand the potential for career-ending damage that could destroy their family's financial security overnight. Every match becomes a threat to their shared future. WWE's medical staff provides healthcare for wrestling families, but that coverage comes with strings attached that limit performers' ability to seek independent medical opinions or treatment options that might conflict with corporate interests. Healthcare becomes a control mechanism rather than an employee benefit. The retirement planning that WWE offers wrestling couples is designed to maintain corporate control over former performers rather than providing genuine financial security. Pension plans and healthcare benefits keep retired wrestlers dependent on company goodwill long after their active careers end. Wrestling couples who divorce face unique complications because their professional obligations require them to continue working together even after their personal relationships end. WWE has no policies protecting performers from having to interact professionally with former partners who may have caused them emotional or physical harm. The custody arrangements that result from wrestling divorces are complicated by travel schedules and performance obligations that make traditional parenting plans impossible to maintain. Children of wrestling couples often become pawns in corporate power struggles that extend beyond personal disputes. WWE's handling of wrestling couple breakups reveals their priorities clearly. The company protects whichever performer has more commercial value while discarding the less profitable partner regardless of who was responsible for the relationship's failure. The mental health support that WWE provides wrestling couples focuses on keeping performers available for work rather than addressing the root causes of relationship stress that stem from corporate policies and industry culture. Wrestling couples who seek therapy outside WWE's wellness program face contract violations that can result in fines, suspension, or termination. The company demands exclusive control over performers' mental health treatment to prevent outside professionals from identifying corporate practices that contribute to relationship problems. The most infuriating aspect of WWE's treatment of wrestling couples is how they market relationship success stories while systematically creating conditions that make those relationships impossible to maintain. The company profits from both the romance and the inevitable heartbreak. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's relationship represents WWE's latest experiment in relationship monetization. The company is carefully monitoring their interactions, documenting their personal moments, and preparing storyline content that will exploit their genuine emotions for corporate profit. The future of wrestling relationships depends on performers' willingness to prioritize their personal happiness over corporate advancement opportunities. But WWE's contract terms and creative control policies make the choice a career-ending decision for most wrestlers. Wrestling couples who successfully maintain their relationships do so by refusing to allow WWE access to their personal lives, even when that refusal costs them creative opportunities and financial advancement. Privacy becomes a luxury that few wrestling families can afford. The industry's treatment of wrestling relationships reveals professional wrestling's fundamental disregard for the humanity of its performers. Love, marriage, and family are viewed as content opportunities rather than personal experiences deserving of respect and protection. WWE's systematic destruction of wrestling relationships isn't accidental corporate policy, it's a deliberate strategy designed to maintain control over performers who might otherwise develop support systems that could challenge corporate authority. The wrestling industry's relationship failure rate proves that the current system is unsustainable for performers who want both professional success and personal happiness. Something fundamental must change, or wrestling couples will continue falling victim to corporate manipulation that treats their love as disposable entertainment content. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch believe their relationship is different from the couples who came before them, but they're following the exact same path that has destroyed every other wrestling romance. Their genuine love for each other is being systematically converted into corporate profit while the conditions that will ultimately tear them apart are being carefully constructed by the same company that claims to support their happiness. The most tragic aspect of wrestling relationship destruction is that performers often don't recognize the corporate manipulation until it's too late to save their personal connections. By the time they understand how WWE has been exploiting their emotions, the damage to their relationships has become irreversible. Professional wrestling's treatment of couples represents the industry's ultimate betrayal of performer trust, taking the most sacred aspects of human experience and transforming them into temporary entertainment content that generates massive profits while leaving real people emotionally devastated and personally destroyed.